District. We want to play a little bit of sound for you now from State Senator Roland Gutierrez. He of course represents Uvalde and has been very passionate about this and had a lot to say about it in the lead up to today. Here's what he had to say after what we've learned this morning.
Those cops were cowards, and those kids were braver than the cops. At about the 20-minute mark, there was a call from Chloe Torres. Chloe said, we're in here. Come get us. And no help came. Thank God Chloe made it. Some of her friends didn't make it. And here's the sad part about all of this. What would have happened if they'd have done their job? They didn't kill these kids, I get that. What would have happened if they'd have gone in at minute 12? How many kids would be alive today? They all need to explain themselves to us. There was a memo that was exposed by one of the agencies in one of the news stories, an internal memo with DPS, where Steve McCraw says, relax. No one's going to get fired over this. There's been no accountability at this agency. One man they said was fired was allowed to retire. And the other Texas Ranger they said they fired is still on the payroll, $100,000 later sitting on his couch. Steve McCraw will tell me, well, that's because the DA's investigation isn't done yet. You all heard in that leaked story several months ago where more than one, more than two, and more than 5 cops uttered about that gun. These cops were afraid of that gun. They don't have the decency and the fortitude to go into that building in Dawson or into the halls of Washington as law enforcement and say, do something about this gun, because it's a killer. It's a killer of kids. It's a killer of human beings. It's a war rifle and nothing more. I have a whole lot of guns, and I fired that one. Most powerful gun I've ever fired. We need to do something about this for sure.
Or just Craig.
Again, some passionate words coming today from State Senator Roland Gutierrez, who represents the Uvalde area. I want to bring Craig Miller back in to discuss this more. Former DISD police chief and deputy chief at Dallas Police Department, who now does consulting for schools, relating to active shooter situations and security. We listen to this. As we said earlier, this isn't a day to pile on to law enforcement. We even heard the Associate AG this morning, Vanita Gupta, saying, we take law enforcement for granted in this country. They go running into dangerous situations every day. They didn't go running into this one, though, and we have to learn from these sorts of things. Do you think that there will be a legacy that comes from Uvalde? Is there already a legacy that comes from Uvalde, notwithstanding any legislation, but police officers out there? Will they pick up from this and go, you know what, if I ever encounter something like this, I don't care if somebody's telling me to back up and wait. If I see this going on where I am, I'm going in.
Well, I absolutely do. I believe that some of the changes that have come place after this with regards to the active shooter training that wasn't necessarily mandated, that is now mandated for police officers. It's really important. There are just over 1,000 public school districts in the state of Texas, not counting charter schools, 1,023. About 300 of them have their own school district police departments. That means the other 700 are using the local municipal police officers or sheriff's department to come into their schools. And how those guys are trained. In our area, for example, Richardson ISD has Dallas PD officers in it because the schools are in the city of Dallas. It's important that the officers that are in those schools are trained and get the active shooter training and know what to do, understand the incident command system. Everybody in law enforcement at every level should understand the incident command system, kind of the pecking order for who's in charge at a situation. We want to follow our directives. We have supervisors. We have to keep a chain of command. We can't have just people, not being in compliance with what we have an expectation of. But I absolutely believe that we will remember this incident just as we do Sandy Hook, just as we do Parkland, as we do Santa Fe, and now this shooting. But this is without question. When you look at Parkland, you have one officer that fails to immediately go in. Here you have 376 officers that are there from 23 different agencies that all had an opportunity to take action.